Cold opening, Moscow revisited. The film opens on a frozen Moscow skyline under heavy snowfall. A convoy of FSB vehicles speeds through the city streets toward an industrial warehouse. Inside, agents uncover evidence linking recent assassinations to Evelyn Salt. She's thought to be dead, yet a fresh DNA match on a cigarette but proves otherwise. Cut to Salt herself, wearing a heavy coat, disguised as a cleaning worker at a railway station. She senses pursuit and silently slips away. A tense chase ensues through the icy platforms. Salt uses her cunning, traps, and agility to eliminate her pursuers, vanishing into the crowd. Her legend lives on, but so does her isolation. Salt lives under an alias, Anna Petrova, in a quiet Serbian border town. She teaches local children English and spends her evenings monitoring encrypted frequencies. Her life is calm but heavy with guilt over Mike's death and her past as a Russian sleeper. One night, while watching news about rising U.S. Russia tensions, Salt mutters, "It's happening again." She's still haunted by her identity crisis. Neither fully American nor Russian, just a ghost trapped between two worlds. In Langley, Eleanor Graves, the newly appointed CIA director, addresses a special task force. She declares Salt the most dangerous, unaccounted operative alive, claiming that remnants of the K-12 sleeper cell are behind the recent assassinations. Graves introduces Agent Ryan Pierce, a skilled but idealistic operative, to lead the hunt. In her office, Graves privately speaks with a shadowy figure, her contact suggesting she has deeper motives than national security. Salt receives a coded message through an abandoned mailbox. The circle is incomplete. Rejoin us before they do. The handwriting matches an old comrade from the KA-12 program. Alarmed, she decodes the coordinates hidden in the note, pointing to Budapest. Salt realizes the old network she once dismantled might be rebuilding itself under a new guise. In Budapest, Salt finds Ivan Chernov, a broken ex-K-12 operative turned informant. Hiding in a decrepit safe house, Ivan warns her that the K-12 program didn't die, it evolved. The new faction is called Shadow Protocol, led by Colonel Viktor Malenkov, a mastermind obsessed with reprogramming the world order using data, AI, and proxy wars. Ivan gives her a USB drive containing coordinates before he's shot dead by assassins. Salt escapes through narrow alleyways, but now she knows something worse than Day X is coming. Salt's investigation leads to Berlin, where she tracks a lead involving a Shadow Protocol banker. Meanwhile, the CIA's Agent Pierce is closing in on her location. They cross paths in an abandoned U-Bahn tunnel. A tense chase unfolds, close-quarters combat, silent kills, and psychological tension. When mercenaries ambush them both, Salt saves Pierce's life, shocking him. "If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead," she says, vanishing into the shadows, leaving him questioning everything. Pierce locates Salt again, this time in a secure Berlin safe house. She traps him but doesn't kill him. She shows him the USB Ivan gave her, files linking the CIA's operations to Malenkov's network. Salt tells Pierce that Graves' directive may not be what it seems. Pierce, realizing Salt might be right, reluctantly agrees to cooperate, but only temporarily. Their investigation takes them through Zurich, Prague, and Warsaw, uncovering a financial trail connecting private military firms, cyber warfare contractors, and political assassinations, all part of Shadow Protocol. Salt deduces that Malenkov's next move involves a peace summit in Vienna. The duo begins to see the larger plan, destabilization through chaos, to make nations distrust one another enough to trigger a controlled world conflict. In Vienna, Salt and Pierce work together to stop the assassination. They infiltrate the summit disguised as technicians. Salt identifies a sniper, neutralizes him, but too late. A second explosion kills several diplomats. Security footage shows Salt near the scene, painting her as the mastermind. As chaos erupts, she escapes, leaving Pierce torn between duty and belief. The world media brands Salt a terrorist once more. Pierce returns to Langley, demanding answers from Graves. She plays the Patriot card, calling Salt a ghost from a darker world. Yet, Pierce notices inconsistencies in her orders and timing. Meanwhile, Salt contacts an old Russian journalist, who's murdered before publishing evidence against Malenkov. Graves orders Pierce arrested for collusion with Salt, exposing her ruthlessness. The audience realizes Graves is in contact with Malenkov himself. Salt infiltrates a CIA black site in Estonia disguised as a prisoner transport officer. Using stealth and psychological manipulation, she rescues Pierce. Their escape is cinematic. Smoke, flashing alarms, snow-covered airfields, and Salt fighting off guards using improvised weapons. Inside a stolen truck, Pierce admits he now trusts her, but fears she's becoming as cold as those she hunts. Salt decrypts Ivan's USB fully, discovering Day X 2.0, a plan to trigger war not through soldiers, but through digital deception. Using an AI system named Orion, Shadow Protocol will fake missile launches, manipulate news feeds, and generate false intelligence, forcing nations to retaliate. Salt realizes Orion's activation sequence is already underway, with launch servers hidden in the Arctic Circle. Salt seeks out Olga Petrovna, a former K-12 sleeper and one of her closest allies. Olga now lives under a new identity in Finland. Initially hostile, she agrees to help Salt reach Malenkov's base, but her motives remain unclear. Pierce distrusts her immediately, sensing something off. Disguised as mercenaries, the trio infiltrates the Norwegian data fortress, a sleek underground compound beneath a glacier. Inside, Salt and Olga use their old KA-12 codes to bypass security. The tension builds as Pierce disables security drones. The visuals blend icy silence with glowing blue servers, symbolizing the digital heart of Shadow Protocol. As they reach the control core, Olga turns on them. She reveals her allegiance to Graves, who plans to eliminate Malenkov and Salt both, then sees Orion to make the CIA the sole superpower. Olga shoots Pierce, leaving him critically wounded. Salt's trust is shattered once again. Salt escapes her restraints, navigating the collapsing corridors. She faces Olga in a brutal, close-quarters fight amid freezing steam vents and ice-covered machinery. Despite Olga's betrayal, Salt hesitates to kill her, a sign she's grown beyond her assassin roots. Olga dies trying to warn Salt. Graves, she's worse than him. Salt confronts Malenkov in the control chamber. He greets her as his prodigal creation. He argues that chaos is the only path to world peace, through destruction and rebirth. Their ideological clash turns physical, with Salt eventually impaling him on a steel rod as alarms blare. His dying words, "You can't kill what you are." Salt rushes to stop Orion's final activation. Pierce, barely conscious, helps her override the sequence using Graves' CIA credentials. Orion's self-destruct mechanism triggers, initiating explosions throughout the base. As the complex collapses, Salt and Pierce narrowly escape on snowmobiles, pursued by drones until the entire glacier erupts in flames. Salt and Pierce part ways in the snow. She tells him to disappear and expose Graves if he can. "The world doesn't need to know me. It just needs to survive me," she says. Later, Graves appears before Congress, blaming Russian terrorism for the Arctic incident. A mysterious envelope with CIA files arrives on her desk, signed E. Salt. Moments later, her car explodes. The assassin remains unseen. In a remote cabin in Iceland, a news report plays. Eleanor Graves killed in DC bombing. Officials suspect foreign involvement. A hooded woman steps out into the snow, face unseen. She drops a small pendant into the ice, Mike's wedding ring, and walks toward the horizon. Fade to black. A voiceover, "They taught me to disappear. They never taught me to stop." The screen cuts to black. Salt will return.